Hey guys, welcome back to Anything Goes with Sania and Leah. Today we're on episode 19 and we are going to be chatting about post-show, which we thought was fitting because obviously Sania is post-show,
I
having
am indeed.
finished competing now. So yeah, we want to go through what Sania has done in her post-show, how we would recommend approaching post-show, just to kind of help out a little bit and give our experience on it, because it can be like really, really tough. And I think we'll talk about this more later, but I think tougher than the prep probably coming away from the show.
Yeah,
Um,
it is definitely it's one of those actually. Like it depends how you view it. I would say a post show is very much a mental challenge rather than a physical challenge. Physically, you're sound. It's
yeah,
the mental blocks of just everything. It is never ever ever easy. And the main thing that I kind of want people to take away from this, which I actually put on my Instagram post yesterday, is everyone makes mistakes no
yeah,
matter how often they've done a post show. And really, to be honest, I don't like using the word mistakes because there are no mistakes.
yeah, yeah. And there's so many different approaches. It's like there's no right or wrong way to do it, because at the end of the day, the goal is to get yourself back into a healthy position, gain some body fat. Um, Obviously, yeah, you just want to get yourself back in a good position,
Yeah,
ideally without gaining a load of body fat in the process, in terms of where you have to like diet again in the near
yeah,
future. So
100%.
what
Shall
so
we explain what post show is? Kind of like what the kind of like almost just quickly like dumb it down, like what's post show.
yeah. So it's essentially the few weeks post show, essentially after you finish competing, because obviously you're trying to get your food back to like a healthy level, you're trying to improve training performance. If you're a female competing and you've lost your cycle, you obviously want to get your menstrual cycle back. That's probably the main thing I would say, is you don't want to be prolonging the time that you are lean for, because you've dieted super hard, you can't stay in stage condition. So the goal is to basically move yourself away from stage condition as like safely and effectively as possible, and get yourself just back to like fully functioning, being able to think, not being super lean.
Yeah,
But obviously there's loads of different ways of doing it.
100%. A lot of the time, I would personally, me personally, a lot of people may say different. I personally say that the 4 week post show is your post show period, and then it turns post show period rebound, and then it turns into like starting to go into an off season and all that kind of stuff. Like I always like I'd always say like never like the 4 weeks 4 weeks after your show is when you're done with prep, and then you can start being a little bit more kind of
Yeah,
like lax, and you'll probably get into more of a routine at that point. So that's
yeah,
what I don't know if you'd agree.
yeah, I agree, and that actually helped me a lot. Last time I competed, I remember Dan said to me, treat the 4 weeks after your shows like you're still on prep.
Mm.
And that just really helped me, because it meant that we got food up like pretty high very quickly, and I didn't really gain much body fat. And I'm not saying that's right, like you don't have to be, some people will just kind of bring the food up, add a lot of flexibility, and that works for them absolutely fine, which is also fine. Like there's no right or wrong way. But that really helped me, as in like treating the 4 weeks post show was, yeah, you still have your meal plan, you still hit your meals, you have this many meals out. That just really helped me, because I think it can be really tough going from being so structured and so rigid to suddenly this goal no longer being there, and being like, well, like I can basically do what I want, but I can't because I don't want to gain limbs. It's like this mental back and forward in your head, isn't it? Between like, well, I shouldn't really have it because it's not on my meal plan and I don't want to gain loads of body fat, but why not? Because I've worked so hard, like I should deserve to treat myself. It's like that's
It's
what
the
I
deserve
love.
part. It's the
Yeah,
deserving. It's the talking your way into. I've just dieted
yeah,
6 months, like sometimes even more. Why, if I'm allowed it, why the hell am I not gonna have it? Because I have done so well, and I'm so proud of I deserve to have that chocolate bar. I deserve to have that piece of cake. And it's the deserve. It's the deserve that drives you, and then it's the guilt that sets you back.
Yeah.
Like the guilt in post show is like the worst part, because you talk yourself into wanting to eat it. You
Yeah.
then realize and think, was that worth it? And then you feel guilty, and then this is where vicious cycles can happen. But I think, like, in terms of like, there's so many different ways. I know we are going to agree on the same way, and personally I would always recommend this way. With I'm still getting used to it. I'm still like having things off plan. Like,
Yeah.
I'll still have, like, so for example, the let's actually track. I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself. Should we talk about our approaches post show? Because ours currently right now are similar in the terms of free calories, meal plan, blah blah blah, blah.
Yeah, let's do what have you done post show? I'll talk through what I did last time post show, and then we'll go through some different approaches, how to manage how you feel, etc. Do's and don'ts, that sort of thing.
Yeah, we'll do that. So currently this prep, last prep, it was my 21st birthday, a week after my show. And I was a little bit cray cray. I was cray cray, definitely, with the how I just didn't have a post show. Like, I didn't rebound, I didn't have a plan. Because it was my birthday, I basically said, right, I'm having this whole week off, and then a few days
Yeah.
after my birthday. So I had about 2 weeks just in no routine at all. I was just like living my best life. And to be honest, I don't regret it. It was my 21st birthday.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is. Like, it's, you live and you learn. And the best thing about this time was I didn't have any plans like straight after the show day.
Yeah.
So it meant that I could kind of like ease myself into it. So this time, I was obviously, I saying that I was away in Alicante. So I was away in Alicante, and I think it was like up until I got to the UK, I basically was as you are, like, just eat to society, don't be a dick, kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
have fun, enjoy meals out. You're in Spain, whatever. But obviously I had a little bit more of a sense of control this time because I had done it already. So that's one thing I do just want to mention, is like, it does get easier as
Yeah.
the more times you do it. The first time is always like, so don't even know what to think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am
Yeah.
I allowed this?
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat this. So it's a lot more kind of hectic, I'd say, for your first one. But so I had a few days off, I checked in, and then this time around I have been put on a meal plan, which I'll big Tom up here. You know how I said I'll never trust Tom with a meal plan because he's got
Yeah.
really shit food taste?
Who's
He
put that
actually
random
did
picture?
me on random shit together. I think he must have taken inspiration from my meal plan, because he gave me spaghetti bolognese, he
Ah.
gave me Greek yogurt, he gave me jasmine rice and chicken, eggs and bacon. I was like, Tom, okay, I'll actually stick. I have nothing to change on this. Well done, you. Salmon, he gave me salmon, he gave me cod. I'm loving life. But yeah, we stuck to a meal plan, and basically we are working on a meal plan and also free calories. Now,
Yeah.
he hasn't set me any kind of like, you can have off plan meals and stuff like that, purely based on the fact because I'm just having them, and I'll tell him when I'm having them.
Right.
So he most likely probably wants me to have maybe one or twice a week. But when I do have them, I work out the content of what my off plan is, and then I'll kind of change my meal plan around. So, for example, if I'm having a Nando's or a burrito or something that's relatively quite clean, essentially, I'll take off like my last meal, and then also my free calories.
Yeah.
So if it's like a Nando's, I'm not going far over, that much further over in comparison to my
Yeah.
meal plan. But if I'm having something big, like let's say, for example, like I did yesterday, I had a dessert and a main, and it was quite calorie specific, like a lot. I'll take out like a certain amount of calories and my free calories from my meal plan, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. So, but then I'm not taking out the same calorie difference. I'm just taking out less from my main food so that it's not a huge jump, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's just basically finding what works. So at the moment, I think I'm having like 2 off-plan meals a week.
Yeah.
And I won't lie to you. I'm going to be completely honest with you. If I have a pack of cookies and I've finished all my calories, I will have a cookie and I feel fine for it. Like, it is one of those things where I'm like, I shouldn't have it, but I want it and I'm going to have it. And as long as I stop at 1,
Yeah.
I'll be okay. And so I'm just getting used to the free calories. I'm just getting used to, reining it in a bit.
Yeah.
So I always like checked in with Tom and I basically was like, look, I know we have free calories, but sometimes I do go a cookie over or a slice of cake over. And he's like, okay, cool. You haven't eaten the whole cake. You haven't eaten the whole packet.
It's still controlled, isn't it? And like your decision, which is what's important.
This is it. It's like, as long as you can understand what you're putting in.
Yes. Yeah.
Is going in.
Yeah.
If you can understand that and not kind of cry at the fact that the scale goes up.
Yeah.
Then that's where the mental challenge is, where you expect to eat all this food and then you expect not to gain the weight. That's when it's mentally challenging as well.
Yeah.
But
It's just
sorry.
I was just saying, it's just like accepting it and being like, well, okay, I can have this, it's fine. But, if I am eating obviously over my calories and over my meal plan or whatever, I am going to gain body fat a little bit faster.
Yeah, exactly that. And it's just all about acceptance, and it's very hard to accept weight gain when you've been in the mindset of lose weight. But it takes time. But your approach is very similar, but you're a bit more stricter, I'd say, with how you are.
Yeah, because only really in the last year, because I think after the British I was quite flexible. So basically the same approach. So Dan gives me a meal plan before I actually compete, so I already know
Shit.
so I already know when I'm competing, I know straight away what my food is, because I just
that excites you as well, doesn't it?
and I have to have it there. I have to, because after my first show, Dan was like, go and have a day. I think I had 2 days. I think in between the qualifier and the British, Dan was like, have tonight's meal and then go and have tomorrow and go and just have a flexible day. And I didn't get mad. Like, I think I went out for breakfast. I think I had pasta for lunch, and I think I went out for dinner. So I think I only had like 3 meals. I wasn't like going mad. But honestly, I couldn't do it mentally. Like, I gained like £6 in a day, which is probably pretty normal post show. Obviously it came back off again because I had the British, so I lost it again, but I couldn't deal with it. And I was like, Dana, I can't do it. So what I do now is I have my meal plan. I have 1 meal out in the evening post show, and then I start my meal plan the next day. Because for me, I
wanted to do that, but it didn't.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that though.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's like you've done multiple post shows, so you know exactly what you want to do. Like you know, and I feel like if you do an international show and you're there for a couple of days, you'll probably do what I did, and you'll go, yeah, I'll stay on plan. I'll go back until you don't.
And for the sake of a couple of days, like, because it'll be interesting actually, because obviously I'm going to be in Spain post show this year.
Yeah, this is what I was going to say. You'll want to try like paella. You'll want to try like the cuisine over there. Like, it's completely different. So if you think, right, I'm staying on plan, but you're out in Spain, like, make the most of it. And then when you come back home, get back to it.
Yeah, so I'll probably do that, I think. But I think the more you compete, and obviously the more you are post show, you learn, right, okay, that worked for me, that didn't work for me. And you start to then gain an understanding of what you want to do, so you can like plan it a little bit more. So like going into the universe, I had a lot of social plans. Like, I had weekends with friends, me and Will were going on holiday, I had like concerts, I had loads and loads of plans. And I said to them, I've got a lot of plans, like I don't want to push my food too hard because I've got a lot of plans anyway. So what we did is we kept calories, I mean, they were still like, I think they went straight up to like 2.8k or something, so they were still pretty high, but
Yeah.
we held them all the way through summer because of the plans that I had. But what I
That's
learned
yeah.
this time was actually I didn't gain body fat quick enough because it took me far too long to get my cycle back.
I remember you mentioning
Yeah,
this actually, because even you almost like weren't eating enough averagely to
exactly.
gain weight. Yeah. So
Didn't
it's
gain
like
weight.
it would be like one meal off, or like the thing is though, like what I find is once you get all the crap food out the way, like
Yeah.
in the sense of like all the cookies that you want to eat, all the greasy food and burgers and pizzas, when you go out to eat, you then start to crave nicer tasting food.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is you go out for Thai food, or you go out for like, instead of being like a pizza takeaway
Yeah,
with a
yeah,
it's cleaner food. I'm not saying it's clean food, but I'm saying it's cleaner food, so that the calorie intake usually, like the more you go and like get out of post show, gets less and less as you do, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah.
because you've got all the shit out of the way. So I bet you when you went out for food and stuff, like with all these plans, like you weren't consistently getting a starter from Domino's, a pizza from Domino's, and then a dessert from Creams. Like that's normal post show. You were getting like, and you're probably substituting some meals for it as well. So volume wise as well, you probably weren't eating enough.
Yeah, that was the problem because I think 5 weeks or 6 weeks after my show, I think I was like 3 pounds up. It was like a very, very minimal. Like I still could have got on stage like 6 weeks after I competed.
Yeah, see, I'm not like that.
Which I learned though, because I went too far the other way because I was a bit scared after the British because I felt like I came away from a plan too quick. I was like, right, I'm going to really stay on my plan. So then I went too far the other way. So it's like this time I know, okay, yeah, I need to stay on my plan, but I can probably gain body fat a lot faster than what I did. So it's just that learning. That's all it is. It's just trial and error. Okay, that worked. That didn't. I'll do that next time. But I do think mentally, I do think it helps so much being in the mindset of like, right, this is my plan. Like 90% of the time, I need to make sure I'm having my meals because what you don't want to fall into a trap of, and this is what I did in my first show, is I was eating out so much. I literally didn't have any meals from my plan. Every meal was just like, oh, fancy this, I'll have this. Oh, I'll go out for lunch. And that's when I end up eating like 2 meals a day, or like I'd eat a massive meal and then wouldn't eat for like 9 hours or something. So it was just so ad hoc, whereas you want that consistency and you want to be getting your food in regularly and eating good quality food as well. So I think go out for food, enjoy it, but make sure you are still sticking to your meals and don't go out and then cut out all your meals for the day because you feel guilt.
I agree with you. Like what I personally would recommend, like is similar to you, is have 4 meals that are on plan. Like if you have 5 meals, have 4 meals on
Yeah.
plan. If you have 3 calories and you fancy something, put something in those meals, or don't. Use your 3 calories as you are. They're 3 calories for a reason if you have them. Even if you don't have 3 calories, have your 4 meals and then have a macro setup for your last meal.
Yeah.
So that with the macro setup, you can essentially have what you fancy within those macros,
Yeah.
or even if you slightly divert out of them, at least you've got a guideline as to kind of what you need and what food you need and stuff like that. Because
Mhm.
having the guideline will help you so you know almost what's too far gone and what's not. Because then if let's say for example you want to have dinner with your family and it's a roast dinner, you can use that last meal with whatever you want. Do you know what I mean? You could have like a piece of cake and I don't know, and like whey or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
something like that. Like so you have the cravings kind of, because you are going to have cravings and you are going to want to tick them off. Like you are going to want to tick all those cravings off, and you can do that. Just remember, like food will always be there, so you don't need to tick them all off within 2 weeks. Like you can tick them off slowly and gradually. Like they're always going to be there.
Yeah.
And I think the main thing, like me and Reese were actually talking about this, like similarly to the subject you were talking about, is some you've got to put on body fat. Like the reason why you're doing this is you're a bodybuilder. You need your training back. You need to eat as consistently as you were before because you need to get back into training. You want your energy levels to kind of not dip and undip and the consistency, the routine, it will help you, because that is what we are as bodybuilders. We are so on it with the routine and all that kind of stuff, and you'll find that it helps you. And if you fall off of it straight away, you'll struggle to kind of gain that routine back.
Yeah, that's a big point actually, because I think if you've had weeks and weeks and weeks of just ad hoc eating, going out for loads of meals, no structure, no meal prep, and then all of a sudden you're trying to claw that back, like that's hard, you know. So I just think the sooner you can get yourself back to that routine, yes, have an odd meal out, have an extra bit and bob
Even if
what
you
you're
have
on.
5 meals, like even if you have five,
Yeah.
if like throughout the whole week you have 5 off-plan meals, but every day you have stuck to 4 meal plans and kept routine, you've gotten your steps and you've gotten your cardio. Fucking hell, no one gives a fuck if you have, obviously you need to understand you will gain weight if you do that, but even if you have a meal out every single day, for example, wouldn't recommend, but if you did have it, but you still kept consistent with your food, your meal timings, your training, you will find that those 7 meals out that you've had will very quickly go down,
Yeah, 100%.
because you've, but if you're off plan and off routine consistently, you just crawl, like you're just digging a
Yeah,
hole every meal
yeah.
every day. You're not in routine, but the routine is what will, you'll crave even more of a routine if you stick into the routine.
Yeah, and I also think with that as well, if you start missing meals and you start eating out loads and there's no structure there, your appetite is never going to stabilize back out. And obviously, your body is signaling to you post show, I need food, like I need to eat, like your hunger hormones are going to be all over the shot. So the faster you can stabilize them, the better. So if you can sort of suck up those first 2 or 3 weeks when you are still going to be starving, because let's be honest, like if you're on a meal plan, no matter how much food you're eating, you're still going to be hungry after you compete, no matter what you eat. So if you can just suck that up, because I think that was my problem post first show. I was like, "What? I'm
I'm
so hungry. I need
hungry.
to eat. I need to eat."
I shouldn't be
Yeah,
hungry.
because I was like, I'm not on prep anymore. But when you accept, actually, like my hunger, I've actually ran myself into the ground for like 6 months. This is not going to settle itself down in like a week. You know, if you can just give it a few weeks, just to allow yourself to like settle. If you're consistently eating enough food day in day out, your hunger, and your appetite will settle off. You just need to be a bit patient with it. Because if
This
you've
is
got
it.
like super low, like I don't know, 1100-1200 calories a day or whatever, and then suddenly you're eating 2,500-3,000, it will settle. It's just probably going to take 4 weeks maybe for it to stabilize. So I think just be patient with it, because you're not going to find a week post show you're satisfied and you fall again, you know.
No, absolutely. And I also think, like when it comes to hunger levels, the reason why people say post show is a lot harder is for 2 reasons. Because you've not got that sense of direction of, I have to do this because I've got a show, you're all over the place. And also the hunger post show is far worse than it is within a prep, because it's so contained and you have zero flexibility. So there's no question mark of, should I have this?
Yes.
The answer is no. When it comes to post show and there's a massive question mark and you're
Yeah.
left, oh, well, I can have this, but should I have this? It's like
Yeah.
having the devil and the angel on your
It
shoulders.
literally
So
is.
it's like, is because your hunger is so, your body is saying, it's like, oh my God, what was it? Yeah, this is I sang this to Beth. I was like, when I was looking at a piece of cake and I was like, it's opposite to, my mind's telling me no,
From my
but my
body.
body,
That is literally.
but it's my mind's telling me yes, but my body's telling me yes, but my mind's telling me no. I think
Yeah,
that's the
it's
way.
like
You know what I mean?
it is. It's
Like,
like head and heart, isn't it?
yeah, it's just hard, and it's the question mark, and it's the want to eat, it's the hunger. It's so much harder. Like, if you think hunger and prep's hard, this is why we're talking about post show as its
Oh,
own
next
topic,
level.
because it's just as hard. It's like
Yeah.
just as hard in a post show, because you can eat, you've eaten. But should we talk about the kind of the mental aspect of post show, and visualization, what to expect, how can they overcome maybe getting a bit fatter?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think God, there's so much I could cover here, but I think a big part of it is just
Let's do
sorry, what were you going to say then?
yeah. I was gonna say, like, let's do like top 5 tips for so like top 5 tips on my brain's not working and I'm eating food, it makes no sense. Top 5 tips
Top
on
five
like
tips. Just any top 5 tips.
no, but I have something in my head and it's not coming out of it's in there, but it's not coming out here.
I'll just let you think for
Top
a
5
second.
tips on how to manage weight gain post show. So
Okay.
that will, because there's so much to talk about, like the top 5 tips. That's what I try to say.
Oh God, can you go first? I need to just think.
Okay, so my top 5 tips would be one of them in terms of visual is basically don't weigh yourself every day would be one of my top 5 tips. And you don't have to consistently look at yourself in the mirror anymore, is what I'm trying to say. It's like there's certain habits in prep that you don't have to, I feel like you don't have to do. If you find that watching the weight gain on the scale is scaring you, then don't do it. Just straight up don't do it, because if that's what's sending you sideways, fuck it off.
Yeah.
Fuck it off. Get the scales out of wherever I don't believe personally that your coach needs, obviously they can see if you've eaten a lot of food or not. Like, our bodies are so sensitive, they're going to know if you've gained 10 pounds in a week.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to know that number, then don't do it, because I found last prep and even this prep, seeing the weight go up on the scale every day is just draining. And it's very hard to switch my mental state of I need to lose weight to I need to gain weight. But then it's also knowing, well, how much is too much weight? How much is not enough weight? Am I gaining too much weight too quickly? Just take that out. Just take that out. And that's what I'm doing. I'm not gonna weigh myself every day. I'll weigh myself maybe like 3 times per week, so that I'm thinking less negatively towards the weight gain.
Yeah.
That's my first tip. What's your tip?
Okay, so my first tip is accept that you're not going to fit into your prep clothes. Because I remember literally I had all these clothes and then I put them on after I started gaining a bit of weight, and I was like, oh God, like my stomach is hanging over the top. Like, I literally feel like I'm being strangled around the stomach. Like,
fat.
yeah, and it was horrible because I just felt, obviously when I was like lean and striated, there was no body fat to hang over anything. Whereas as soon as I started gaining a bit of fat, I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. So I had to buy like a bigger size in my shorts and my leggings. And like, I can't fit in the clothes that I wear on prep when I'm not on prep. I can't. I just feel uncomfortable. So I think just don't try and fit in your prep clothes or even your jeans. Like, I can't get in any of my jeans that I wore when I was on prep. My baggy jeans, baggy prep jeans, I can't even get up past my knee anymore. So, just buy clothes that actually fit you, because you'll feel so much better.
Yeah, I agree. And also, like, don't get upset when you fit into your off-season clothes.
Yeah, it's okay. They're only clothes. You can buy different sizes and you're all good.
What else would I suggest? Top 5 mental gaining weight. Focus on your training. So think of this phase as getting yourself back into what you love, because we all know we lose our love for training when we're in the prep. The only reason why we go to the gym is so we can have training day calories, right? Tell me I'm right.
Yeah.
Tell me I am wrong, because I'm not. The only reason for the last probably 5 weeks of my prep is why I looked forward to training days, because my food was higher.
Yeah.
So use the extra food towards your training. Don't really focus on your strength building up, really focus on that, because once you start to shift your mindset away from your aesthetics and towards your training, and your numbers go up, the more you can accept what you look like, because it's resulting in a positive outcome, which is your training.
Yeah.
And it's knowing that it's a positive outcome rather than a negative one, because now you've been given feedback, you need to improve, so why stay the same weight or whatever, or stay the same. Focus on what things you need to kind of improve upon. And one major thing would be trainings.
Agree.
What would your next be?
Okay, so this isn't really like mindset related, but I just feel like it's a tip post show that helped me a lot. Okay. Don't keep foods in the house that you know you are going to struggle with, because what I did on my last show is I just kept my meal plan foods in my house, and all my meat, fish, whatever was on my meal plan I had in. That means if I wanted something, I had to go out and actually buy it, or I had to eat out for it. So that helped me a lot, because it meant that if I was out and I thought, oh, well, I'm going to have a dessert today, I would have one, but it was portion control, because they would obviously bring the dessert out. Whereas if you've got a sharing pack of cookies in your house, and you know,
I made that mistake the other day. I had all of them.
Yeah, it's just
two
hard.
actually.
Yeah, sister's not all bad, but it's just hard because obviously you're sat there, you're hungry, you're like, oh, I could eat that. And it's like, you know, it's there. Whereas just take away that temptation, don't have the food in the house, don't hoard food. If you, it helped me a lot in my last show, being like, if I want something, I'll go out and I'll have it as a meal out, and I'll actually sit and enjoy it. It will be portion controlled. And that helped me a lot. And just having my meal plan foods in the house, going out for food when it was different. So I think don't hoard.
Packets of like bulk is bad. Like I've gotten into a very much a cookie and chocolate cake fad, because when we were in Alicante, me and Reese, we'd have like a cup of tea, we dip our biscuits in the cup of tea, but you don't just get 3 biscuits in a packet of biscuits. You get the whole packet. And like you said, because it's there, you're like, well, I might as well eat all of it. Like I'll just like it's right there, I might as well just have it all. Like it's one packet, what's it gonna do? Whether like it's like not having. So when I bought white chocolate cookies, Tesco's or Morrison's or whatever, there was 5 in a pack. There's 5 in a pack, right? 5 big cookies. Luckily I had Beth and Dan over, so Dan had, I shared them out. I think maybe I had 4 cookies then, but because there was 4, I was like, I might as well finish it. And that was my mindset. I might as well finish it. But in reality, I probably just fucking consumed like hundreds of calories because the packet was there. When in reality, I probably should have just bought like 1 chocolate bar, and that would have been enough for me. And I would have been happy with that because I'd finished it. I would have got the sense of finishing something. But when there's stuff left, you're like, I'm going to have it.
Yeah, I think it's just reminding yourself that post-show, like you are going to be quite sensitive to things like that. And obviously it is extreme at the end of the day, and the side effects of that are that it can affect like relationship with food a little bit after you've competed. So I think it's just having the awareness of that, isn't it? And I definitely agree, like if you're going to buy something, just buy an individual portion size, because then you're not forcing yourself to have willpower when you don't probably have much willpower.
No, 100% not. Like, to be fair, like I learned, like I did that, and then I didn't feel guilty, but I was like, I'm just not going to do that again. I've not felt that much guilt in comparison to the first time I did it, because I'm just going to learn from what I did this time and just say, right, just don't do it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than feeling guilty, because I almost got into the pattern of, like you did, doing extra cardio, doing extra steps, like my first prep. And now I'm like, I'm just going to accept the fact that I fucked up, and that it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Like realistically, it's not the end of the world. And I'm just not going to do it again. And that's fine. And if I continuously do it, even though I say I shouldn't, okay, I need to communicate that with my coach. And that would be my top tip, is communicate absolutely everything with your coach, and do not leave your coach straight after your show. I don't care if you don't get on with your coach. I don't care if you want out. You must factor in your budget of being with your coach 4 weeks at least post show, because they are going to be what keeps you accountable. They are going to help you with your food. They are going to be able to be there for you to guide you through this process. You can't do it on your own. It's hard. You need someone to talk sense into you, because your brain is just bang, 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 bang. You don't know what's right from wrong. You don't know what's a mistake and what's not a mistake. You don't know if what you're doing is right. 9 times out of 10, what you're doing is right for you, but you'll learn yourself. But you need that sense of accountability for someone to potentially tell you off if you do fuck up.
Yeah, agree. I think definitely stay with your coach for as long as you can post show. My third one, oh my god, I just thought of one and I can't remember it.
Prep brain. Leah's 4 weeks into prep and prep brain.
Oh yeah, that was it. Oh, I've got it. If you do overeat or you have a bit more food, it's kind of following on from what you just said. Don't try and overcompensate because it's a very, very slippery slope. Because if you
Please don't.
overeat and then you go and smash cardio, or you go and do an extra 5,000 steps, or you don't eat for the rest of the day, what happens when that happens again? Because it will happen again at some point. You think, oh, it's okay, I'll just go and do cardio, and then it just becomes a pattern. So if you eat a bit more, accept it, take it on the chin, carry on as normal, get the rest of your meals in, don't go and overcompensate, just carry on as normal. Because if you then try, it is a bit like a binge restrict cycle, really. Because if you are,
it is. No, it
yeah,
really is. It's just you don't have an eating disorder, but there's a potential
yeah,
if
there's
you
potential
continue
for
the
it to
way
go
you
there.
do, it can go there. And that's why we say stick with your coach, because they will help you and guide you. So for example, when that happened to me and I could feel myself like consistently going around in that
Yeah,
cycle, Tom was like, fuck it. He was like, clearly you're not eating enough food to sustain you. He was like, even though I think it's enough, he was like, right, I'm going to bump your food up, eat within these calories. It's a lot more. He was like, do not do any extra cardio, do not do any extra steps, eat these calories. You're going to gain weight at a quicker rate, but I'd rather you eat on plan within these calories, because you can fit fucking
yeah,
anything within these calories, so that you stop doing that binge restrict, because it's so dangerous. And you really, especially if you're someone who has maybe had an eating disorder prior to bodybuilding, because I know a lot of people who do bodybuilding because they used to have an eating disorder. But it's very easy for anyone, whether they have experience with a bad relationship with food, to go into it, because your brain is so out of whack and your hormones is so out of whack. It's very hard to justify what to do.
yeah. That's why it's so important as well, going into the show, that you do have a really good relationship with food, because it's not the prep, it's the post show. Like, you need to be in a solid spot from a relationship with food perspective to be able to handle that post show and not bring bad habits and old habits back in. So
Exactly.
it just needs
So
to be,
yeah, sorry, carry on.
I was just saying, it just needs to be approached with like caution.
Yeah, 100%. And just pure transparency with everyone around you.
Hmm.
But it is coming on to 9 o'clock now. So we are unfortunately going to have to. I feel like we spoke about everything that we needed to actually about that. Like we did
Yeah,
that in a pretty good fucking time, I have to say.
I think so as well.
Yeah. If you do have any questions, or you are going through a post-show phase at the moment and generally you are struggling and you need someone to reach out to, I've already had a few DMs of people asking me about post-show and stuff.
Yeah,
And they're going through post-show too. If you generally want someone to kind of who have been through it before, a female, or you need help, or you just need someone to speak to, or you have any questions, my DMs are always open. I'm sure Leah's are always open. This way she's like, no, please don't message me.
yeah. I have actually had a few messages recently. Since I've been speaking more about my relationship with food issues in the past, I've had a few messages from people like messaging saying, oh, like, I know you struggle with this, blah, blah, which has been really nice, because I was always really apprehensive to talk about that.
That's really good for you and them as well. That's probably
Yeah,
really made you feel more confident in like opening up about it.
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, honestly, guys, if you're going through it or anything like that, please feel free. And if there are any other topics that you want us to cover that you think are really, really important, please do also let us know.
Amazing. And
Okay.
yeah,
So,
Q&A next week. Just a reminder.
yeah, we're gonna actually try and remember to do a question. Sorry, guys. Yeah, this was meant to be a Q&A. We forgot to put question box up, so we will put a reminder on our phone, to put a question box up, and anything that you have, please ask us. So thank you so much
Yeah.
for listening, guys, and we'll see you for the next one.
Bye.